I'm Jake Bruton, and today on the Build Show, I want to talk about this. This is our pre-drywall checklist, why you should have something like this, and how we use this. Let's do it now. Okay, so we have all these processes in the building industry where we need to check and make sure everything's right before this next thing happens. And that starts all the way down in foundation. Like, we need to check and make sure that the plumbing rough end's in the right spot. We need to check and make sure that those wall forms are in the right spot. Because once you pour it, stepping back is a big deal. Drywall is one of those big deals. Once we hang this room, all the information that's available to us now is gone, or the majority of it. Obviously, rough openings are maintained, things like that. The majority of it could be gone, it could be covered up. All of the opportunity to resolve any issues now with framing or blocking or electrical or plumbing, all those things become much, much more difficult once we hang drywall. Now that doesn't make like drywall a bad thing or anything, it just means we need to be prepared. So one of the things that we came up with a few years ago, I know the idea of a checklist is not revolutionary, but I'm going to talk to you about how we use ours. We came up with a pre-drywall checklist. The employee handbook for our company has a bunch of this type of thing in the back so that everybody knows that we have it. Everybody is given an employee handbook. Everybody has a copy of this on 8.5 by 11 that they can reference, that if they keep their handbook in their truck, which is by all means not required or anything, they could pull it out in an emergency and use this page. However, our project managers tend to be planning far enough ahead that we have this available and we can print it. So let's talk about funky size to start out with. It's an 11 by 17. The reason that I print all of our checklists on 11 by 17 is this piece of paper and a pile of pieces of paper stands out. And we need to be able to reference this. We need to be able to go back to it, and we need to be able to find this easily. And if you set this on the plan table in amongst a bunch of other pieces of paper, the manufacturer of the bath fans how to install book, this thing stands out. And so that's the only reason that I print it big. It is even kind of a pain in the butt that they're printed big, because then you can't just hold it over top of your regular notebook. But that standout is important. So the second thing of note, the reason that I printed this to talk about it is I can't off the top of my head remember absolutely everything that's on this checklist. So for me to talk to you today about it, I need it so that I can read some of it. So let's just dive into what we have here, and we can talk a little bit about the room that I'm standing in, this little addition. The sheet starts with job name, address, date, all that. You gotta have frame of reference. If I'm gonna scan this, I can scan it into the computer and keep this from now on, and we can go, no, we verified that all those things were there. There's an outlet on that wall, or whatever it is. We can keep this with our pre-photographs too, and now we have CYA, cover your butt information that we can store in the computer. So after where we are and what it is, we have all the inspections that are required, and we have a completed or not completed. So the project manager is going to walk up to the permit if he's unfamiliar with what's been completed. Say somebody was here yesterday to do an inspection. Has the framing, the rough electrical, plumbing, mechanical, has the insulation, all those things. Do we have a pass? Because if we cover that stuff up and we don't have a pass, then we're going to have a problem. We either have to prove in photographic evidence to the inspectors that we did what we said we were supposed to do, or we're taking drywall back off the wall. Either one of those is time consuming and potentially expensive. The next section is documentation, that's CYA. Have we marked out all of our framing locations that are important on the floor? Have we marked out our blocking for our cabinets, which I showed up with it, and the carpenter on the job site, one of the first things he said was, I have the blocking for the closet marked. I still need to mark that. That's why we have the checklist, so that we don't forget. Because I guarantee that was just a simple slip of the mind, because he knows that we're going to mark and photograph everything. We mark center line of the blocking from the unfinished floor, and then we just know, oh, we added 5/8 flooring. It's a 2x8 in that picture, so we have 7 1/4 minus that 5/8 flooring. So then we know exactly where the blocking's supposed to be for the cabinet or whatever it is. We mark the cabinet blocking shelves, closet rods, grab bars, or toilet paper holders. We mark all of that. We photograph all of that. It goes all into the pre-drywall folder on the computer, and then we're certain that it's there. Everything else after that kind of falls under the same, like, well, if it was done so that we could take pictures of it, it's done, but we label it out with a blocking for all the things I just named, all the fire stop stuff, all the tub and range hood locations. Range hoods is a big one because you really have to have the hood in hand to know exactly what the template is. And so that's a big one for us that we suggest you get the thing here, we pull the paperwork out of it, we take it to the shop and get it out of the way. We're checking doorways. Have we checked every single doorway for level, plumb, and square? Do we know that our doors are gonna fit in that space? Pardon me, I really am gonna read from this for the video. Stop blocks for pocket doors. That is a big one that sometimes we forget, or sometimes the slow close hardware for some of the pocket doors has to go on beforehand because it's a spring that's all the way in the back. Did that go on? Did it come with the thing? Because if the framers were here and they just framed the pocket door, they might not know that that piece is there, and we have to check it. Sometimes we have shims in window openings for drywall. Sometimes we're shimming to make sure that the window might not have been centered at install, and we're making sure that the drywall, if it's a drywall wrap, is going to be there. We're marking electrical lines. Let's see. I have a list of all of the appliances that we may need electrical lines for. Is there a line for the furnace? Is there a line for the water heater? Smoke detectors, low voltage. We always forget about low voltage. And then like nail guards. Nail guards are an inspection thing, but even here we had a nail guard that wasn't caught on the inspection and we had to come back around. The same kind of thing ensures, or it is on here for plumbing and HVAC. Like, did we mark where the duct locations come out? Here we have a bath fan and we have an electrical fixture marked on the floor. There's a center dot with a specific line that's the exact center of that device, and then a circle around it on the floor so that we know, hey, there's something there, what was there, and then we can remember what was there. We also like to mark plumbing locations on the floor, stuff like this, radon. The pipe has to be labeled as radon for code, but if the inspector didn't get in the crawl space, he just thinks that that's a vent. We have to make sure that it's labeled so that nobody accidentally plumbs a toilet into that at some point when they put an addition on above or something. And then final tasks for us. The final task is kind of important. It's probably just as important as the rest of the sheet here. So again, I'm reading. Ensure the site is conditioned. You can't install drywall in most unconditioned conditions, I guess is the way I'm trying to say it. It can't be freezing outside and you have no heat in here and you expect drywall mud to not freeze and to cure properly. It needs the same environment that it's going to exist in once the building's finished. So we have to have temporary heat, or we have to have the full heat turned on. We need air conditioning. We need dehumidification. We probably, if it's a basement, need air moving around, so we need fans so that we're not worrying about things taking 3 or 4 days to dry. The other thing that we've ran into in basement situations, if you're not moving air and that mud is really thick, that mud could start to mold because it has so much moisture in it and it's not drying. It's resolvable. It's not the end of the world, but that's the last thing that you want. You want a conditioned space. Access to water on site. Yes, if we don't have water yet, we can inform our drywall crews and they'll bring 5-gallon buckets of water with them. They'll make sure that they have enough, but they need to know that ahead of time. Remove all of our materials and debris. All of our tools have to go. The last thing you want is, number one, your stuff covered up with drywall crap. Number two, for anything to walk off because somebody thought it was their screw gun because they have the same brand. Or number three, it just be in a mess and you have to deal with the fact that they're working over top of your drill and somebody stepped on it because it was laying in the closet and you forgot you left. There's no reason why we shouldn't clean the job site before each new sub is on site, because that sets an expectation for them, but it also provides them with the optimal work environment. So we're making sure that everything's out of here, everything's taken care of. Sometimes we'll mask windows. It's kind of a give and take. Who do we know is hanging? Which drywall crew are we working with? How expensive are the windows? How much time is it going to take? We want to mask windows on every job, but we don't have time to mask windows on every project. Vinyl windows clean easier than wood windows, so we're less likely to cover up, say, an Anderson 100 series window like here than we are to cover up an aluminum and wood clad window from Europe that's going to be much more difficult to match a color for or anything like that. Sweep and clean the entire site, that's prep for everybody else. And then we need to make sure that they have access. How many times does a subcontractor show up to the job and go, hey, it's locked? Is somebody coming by with a key? Do you have a key hidden here? So all of our projects get a realtor style lockbox. Our subcontractors know the code to access the job. It all sounds like a lot, or not like a lot, but it all adds up to be a lot of effort to get ready for that next subcontractor. But they'll thank you. And the second you have a subcontractor that feels as if you care that they're there, chances are they're going to care more about what they're doing too. I know that's not across the board, but it can be a great asset. So I think checklists, and this one was just drywall checklist. I'm sure we'll make another checklist video at some other time. This is a thing that helps us be successful. We're a project management company. We have in-house carpentry, but not very much. Most of what we do is making sure other people have an opportunity to succeed. This is the sort of thing that can get you there. So take the time, make the checklist. Don't kick the can down the road and go, we'll do that someday, because this made a difference on day one when we introduced this system and we started using it. So thanks for watching on the Build Show Network today. I almost said Unbuild It podcast. Don't forget to check out the Unbuild It podcast. Thanks for watching on the Build Show Network today. Don't forget to follow and get the newsletter. There's 2 emails a week letting you know everything that's coming out. If you're not catching that, you're missing out on webinars, you're missing out on content. There's too much content to just wing it and go to the site. You're going to miss something. Sign up for the newsletter. It's worth it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram.